Subscribe to with Obee. I say call the talk with Obee. The talk with Obee. Subscribe with talk with Obee.
Let's go! Don't forget to subscribe, yeah. Ikse Makasana, what's up, party people? In Dona Yako, your #1 favorite MC. If I'm not yet, and then I will be in that. So check it out. You're chilling with me, your boy Kamo Rafael, Method R9, Method Rafael. So before I go any further, I'd like to welcome you to our season 2. Bam! Voila. So yeah, we're back, and this time we'll be focusing more and actually like some guy content here, some guy content in us and I wanted before some guy content you would enjoy long. So I hope Nizo enjoy as much as Ni enjoy with season 1, and thanks for the support so far. I'm subscribing this guy order. That's amazing, guys. So clap hands for yourself. So we appreciate your love and support. You know it's appreciated all the time. So we're back in season 2. We're fair to the boy. Before further, don't forget to subscribe and you know, hit our channel. Also you know, let them others know about the show. You know, yo, some eternity there. Just, you know, you guys supporting us in this further, because that's you showing us love. In the sense as to beg, you know, sin letela I content him and enjoy is our favorite. So subscribe on our channel. You know, you can also catch us our short clip nyano on Instagram. It's at Obee Pictures, and then you can also catch us with Twitter. You can also catch us on Facebook, Obee Pictures, and then you know what it is on YouTube. It's Obee Pictures The Talk. So vandaag, I'm having he's a friend. You know, he's an amazing artist. You know, I consider him as a writer. I consider him as a philosopher, because, you know, it's somewhere else. I also consider him as a genius in some type of way, because he has some sort of skills. I guess
superpower in the pen.
So in this place, he's an OG. I'd like to welcome Jinx in our show. So let my nigga tell himself which one come like.
No, thanks dog for the intro.
What's up, my nigga? You know what it is.
Yeah, y'all. Hey, I hope you guys know me. From Limpopo, OG Jinx. I've been in Ivory for a while now, just back and forth from Limpopo to Gauteng, and I finally found a home in Ivory. As my nigga already said, I'm part of OG gang, hence the OG in front of Jinx. Yeah, like as it can be, man. Like, we're gonna get into this interview. I don't even do most of these things. This is my first one, so I hope you guys like it. Shout out to Obee Pictures for doing this, and shout out to my nigga out here. He's also an OG. You understand me? For little Sophie and everything, I get it from this dude. So yeah. Let's get into it.
I appreciate it. So my nigga, as an OG, as Jinx, some people might not know who Jinx is, what Jinx does. What about Sevelang? What are you known for? You know, so we can start there. We can start by you. You can tell us who's Jinx, before the name Jinx, who's the guy before? Yeah, who's the nigga behind, and how was Jinx born from the two?
I think for that I'll have to go a little bit into me, because that's where it starts. Most of the people don't actually know this. I was born and raised for probably like the first 7 years of my life in a place called Bosmont in Joburg, which is like, at the time at least, was like coloreds, 90% coloreds. You understand me? So it was like, you understand, like I had that thing from, I always had that duality between myself and like the reality of my life was I was living in a shack behind a farm where my biological pops was like working, and I would go out there and go to a school during its C class, you know, like everybody there is and I would have to like forget about the struggle and compete academically and everything. So Jinx kind of came from that. Like I moved around, like I lived in Bosmont, from there Bochum in Limpopo, and then from Bochum, Denron, El Dorado village, which is like where my ancestry is. And then from there I landed here probably 2015, 16 for school too. So I always wanted to come back here because this is where I was born. Actually. So Jinx for me is like a reflection of my whole life. Actually, there's a reason why I had to leave Bosman. And that was all I knew. Actually, Mahlanga's like December time, like everyone else. And that's like from the 24th to the 3rd. You can't know your ancestry within 10 days. So it was like English was like my first language. I had to learn Spade. It was scared. At home they were speaking it like it was only my mom and my pops. My biological pops given my mom Obee. And they weren't even speaking those because they were trying to like root the English. When he gets to school it's easy. But as a kid you squeeze in everything and then you forget about the native
because you're not like exposed.
You feel
it's your parents' responsibility to let you know about culture and differentiate.
So from there it was always a disconnect. So the name Jinx is something I coined for myself. I used to give myself dumbass names. I called myself Jason X at some point. It was crazy. I've just always kind of like been influenced by like Audiomack. So I always liked that aesthetic. So I kind of kept the X and called it Jinx. And Jinx, as everyone knows, bad luck. So as a reflection of my life, as I said, there's a reason why I left Bosmont. There's a reason why I was moving around so many times. And there are a lot of things that I went through. You feel me? Like going to Limpopo and I would say like simple stuff. You walk down the street and they're like, English boy. You feel me? So it was always that disconnect. So I kind of like took it like the word nigger or the word, well, we haven't reached an our African word that they kind of oppressed us with, but I kind of flipped it from that bad, like I'm just gonna wear it. Like I'm gonna go out expecting the worst, but prepared for the best. So in a nutshell, how the human and the artist meet is like all my experience. And then when I tried to expose it and like express it, music was the first thing. So that's why some of my songs are kind of like sad, some are like happy. It's also from everywhere I've been. I've been in places where it was, I didn't want to leave. I've been in places where I wanted to leave the first week, but I had to live there for a year. And also I think moving around, my mom was always in Gauteng trying to get the bag. Me, I had to like move around alone. So I had to like wise up really early. So the music for me was just the perfect transition. The perfect transition, dog.
Talking about when other kids passing by and be like, look at the English talking boy. That's an interesting part, but we will come back to that later. So as people now, like you gave them sort of a picture of who you are and then how Jinx was born from Jason to Jinx. So you moving out and you going through these places, like what type of music or like what touched you into music? Where was you surrounded by music in all of these places, then you'd be like, nah, you know what, I want to rap? Or you were just expressing sound, you were getting these vibrations and you were like, you know what, I think I can be part of it. So what like made
Got
you
me
from
into
there?
this? The hip hop bug that bit me. Okay, for me at home, as I said, like it was two already tribally different parents. So on my dad's side, he played a lot of like reggae, like that was his thing. Every weekend, like Saturday, Sunday, Friday, late, it was his time. It was his. So in the household, from my dad, it was R&B and a bit of like oldies, like jazz, soul. He fucked with a lot of blues. You feel me? These bands when they came in, these rock bands and all of those things. There was like in the household it was a different aesthetic. Like the new music or the best music, the most classic music. That was what they went for. Né? But on my mom's side, she fucked with people like Michael Jackson. You feel me? That type of aesthetic, the soulful things. You feel me?
The pop.
You understand? And then she was a big, and still is a big fan of Brenda Fassie. So
she was a pop star.
She was a pop star too. So that type of like the people that you see at the top of the top in their careers, in their music, in the taste, in the way they push the envelope, in terms of the frequencies that we were hearing from blues to soul, to funk, to disco. So I was exposed to almost all of that, especially being in South Africa. I think we all know it. Mzansi, we're like Rainbow Nation for a reason. This is the hub. So all the most popular sounds you would hear early 2000s, because I was born in 99 for those that don't know, Gemini baby. But I was raised in the 2000s. And if you think back, 2000 going to 05, that was like smashes. Our Black Eyed Peas, like
50 Cent.
50 Cent with the
It was too much less.
You feel me? So for me on that side, it was more all those other genres first. And then how I got into hip hop, it's funny. I think I've told you this before, but they don't know. I was watching this. I wasn't supposed to be watching it, but my dad let me. I was watching 8 Miles as a kid, and I think I had to be like 5, 6 at that age. 8 Mile goes on a local channel, and I'm watching this thing. You feel me? Just watching. I'm just seeing when he's at that scene where he's writing down, and I feel like I kind of like understood who this person was. So as I'm watching this movie and I'm enjoying it, you understand? I'm used to being movies is just smoke and mirrors. It's cartoon, it's illusion, basically. So as I'm watching this movie and I'm intrigued by it, my dad tells me something. Well, still now Netflix kind of killed it, but on channels, local channels, there's still adverts and commercials. So as we're watching this, he tells me that like this guy actually does music in real life, and he's actually good. So I'm watching this movie. And what?
Mind blessed.
I couldn't even wait for the advert, dog. I had to like, yo, what you mean?
Like, let's get back to the movie.
You understand? Because I thought this was a movie, but you telling me this dude does this in real life, and I think when I think back to that memory, I think the song that was playing within the movie was "Lose Yourself." And the shit that he was saying there, like mom spaghetti, arms already. You understand me? So he was the storytelling for me gave me that love. So Eminem was my first hip hop introduction. As much as my mom played Tupac and Nate Dogg and all these people, because they were so melodic, I just put them in like funk or like soul. Like I never understood that, okay, if this is rap, then how can a Tupac make a Dear Mom and still do it, hit me up? So Eminem for me was the guy that kind of like showed me that, okay, this is considered rap. This is it. I knew from there, okay, he's a rapper, man, he's melodic, so this and that. So that's the hip hop part that bit me. So in terms of that, once I heard Eminem, my dad was this person that bought shit with like everything. He bought everything at once. So even his albums, he would take the whole album. He wouldn't take a single, he would take the whole album. So the first song he got, once he got me this, I told him to get me all Eminem's shit and everyone he's associated with. That's when I got into the Chronic.
Even the mixtape.
You understand? All those things, all those arcade things that aren't in the media at that time. I went back to them. Slim Shady's mixtape, I think it's called Infinity or Infinite or something like that.
It's kind of like with a blue cover.
I think it's blue covers. No, that's the other one. Man, I'm talking about his mixtape.
The mixtape.
Rap Rally and whatnot. So I was going back to those things. Man, the first song he played me was off Marshall Mathers LP. And it was Criminal. And as a kid, I'm listening to this thing. And the thing that made me fuck with Eminem was the way he brought you in on Troy. he like even when the song starts, he's talking about people say I'm a criminal because what I say, what. So if you believe that, then I'm gonna kill you. And then it automatically goes to what was the lyrics? Something like you know, my words are like a dagger with a jagged edge to stab you in the head, whether you you understand? So as a kid, hearing these and you understand me, like all of that, I was like, yo, plus seeing the movie prior to hearing the actual music, for me it was just like, yo, I understand what that guy's going through. Like I literally saw myself as Eminem in a few years. As a grown-up, I was gonna see myself like writing lyrics on the way to a job, trying to feed the family, because to me I related to that. He was in a trailer, I was in a shack, but it was the same aesthetic. So M got me into like music.
I think that's an interesting part, because you know, most of the time I think
grown-ups,
they tend to misunderstood like the process of growing up. You know, as kids, they trying to protect us from certain things that they went through, you know, which is life. For example, for me to recognize fire, I should like get bent. That's an experience for everyone. That's the, like, whether my mom wants to protect me or not,
you're gonna end up going there.
You know what I mean? In order to understand like what it is. So, coming to this music, you know, I think our parents, some of our parents, they don't love the idea of you making music.
But they love music.
But they love
which
music,
is crazy.
Which they even got you exposed to the music.
Facts.
You know, so it's kind of like crazy. Like it's sort of like they want to protect your future, or they are very much concerned of who are you going to turn out to be, you know, whether a criminal, because as a rapper they think only you do is smoke weed and run around, and, you know, and drugs, and you know, so they don't see it as a career. They see it as something you can have fun with. You know, I have some family members, when I tell them that I make music, they laugh.
I still
like,
get those.
Dog, like, that one, it's not a scale, you know, it's something you can do. You know, so they want me to like actually acquire a handy skill, like maybe know how to build or know how to paint or put a tile on the floor. So they don't consider this art that we're doing as a skill
or something to push. Or
you know, which is a skill, because if it wasn't a skill, we wouldn't be having institutions, you know, where we go to study music, film, drama,
and even idolize these people that are doing this music.
Know, so. You growing up and getting exposed to this music thing, going forward, the process. Did you were like, nah, I heard Eminem, okay, fine. I studied the classic. Now I can make a rap. You had to like sit down and make music on your brain first, and then it took time to develop a song, and then you just write 4 bars.
Exactly.
Is that the process you went through?
It's similar to that, and it didn't. I wish it happened like I heard Eminem and then automatically I know. But actually, Eminem inspired me, or actually showed me that this is possible to happen. Because 8 Mile shows you from the underdog to the top of the charts, you understand? But when I actually started saying, okay, I'm making music, how I started, it was like, initially I just made, you know, the comic books back in the day when they were actors, like little superheroes and their speech bubbles. So for me, I couldn't draw as a kid. So I was always like, okay, I'm gonna be like the, what do they call them, the screenwriter, or the guy that writes the scripts and whatnot for comics. But the older I got into, like, you know, in school they teach you a little bit about poetry and all of that. So the academic kind of like built me to making poetry, the side of poetry, which is a big element of hip hop. But the person that I heard his album, and I said, because when I was writing poetry, the reason why I called it poetry, because it had no books, it had a lot of similes, it was more metaphors, personification, imagery, and all those stuff. But I never saw that working outside of Eminem. And at this time, I'm talking about like 2013, 14. I've been writing poems at the back of my teachers' books. I've been, you understand me? So I'm trying to get into rap, but I haven't like made that transition. And I remember one of the highlights is like one of my English teachers in actually El Dorado, where I'm from. I think Mr. Mlot is his name. He was my English teacher, and he told me, brought me aside and was like, yo, I told you to write poems. This is technically poetry, but it's rhymes more. This is more about rhymes. They are trash rhymes, but they're still rhymes. So from there, what I took from them is like, yo, this whole time I thought I was doing poetry. I'm actually doing rhymes. So okay, let me try and actually do verses. Let me go back and learn these classics and learn what a bar is and what a verse is, you understand, what a 16 is, you know, what a punchline, how to set up a punchline. So now going back, it was like, okay, now at first from like 5, 6 when I started with M and Nate Dogg and everyone, it was now okay listening to hip-hop as a new genre outside of my household, because like you have to think, hip-hop, I was the only one in my household that was like, yo, when I have the chance to play, I'm playing hip-hop. You may play Brenda Fassie, you go play reggae, but when it's my chance, I'm gonna play this. So I was just playing it and listening to it just from, I love this shit. So when I was told subliminally by people, and you understand me, that like, yo, maybe you should try and do this, that's when I went back to listening to it now from a study point. Like, okay, I want to know how to make a bar. What's a punchline? What's a wordplay? I fuck with wordplay. So things like that I went back to learn. And then actually Forest Hill Drive, J. Cole. When I heard that album, dog, like it was like, yo,
Game changer.
like
That album is a
dog,
game
that
changer.
album is a fucking classic.
Exactly.
So when I heard, what I fucked with it was the way, because I feel like Forest Hill Drive, as much as people won't acknowledge that, before that it was more, your album has to have the smash single, the radio single, the one in the club, the one in this, and then maybe 2, 3 tracks you'll tell us about yourself. But how J. Cole went into like, I think that story was just about his life.
Exactly.
Like literally the good, the bad, the corny, the things people don't want to talk about. Because I remember when I heard Wet Dreams, I was actually going through that kind of situation where I was trying to get my first, you know, for YouTube, I won't, but you know, and that actually helped me. Like literally, it's funny when you think about it, but that song taught me. I think hip hop, that's what it does. It teaches us a lot of things, but to hear that perspective when someone talks about, yo, a sensitive thing, because as men we don't talk about sexual things. We don't talk about how to kiss and how, you understand, we're always hardcore. But for him to be vulnerable and talk about even his mom, like on a parently and things like that, that album taught me that, yo, I don't have to go by the rules, because I was already thinking I'm different, I can't work. But when I saw that, oh, you can actually tell a story and people fuck with the story and don't just want the bars, and which is, I love the bars, I love the wordplay, I love everything, but for me, I want someone to be able to switch off the beat and still get something from the vocals alone. Right? So I love storytelling. So once I heard Forest Hill Drive, honestly, that's when I was like, you know what, I'm done with poetry, I'm actually going into rap. Because at that point I realized that I didn't have to really study, because I already had it in, like you said, you make music in your head. I already had enough of that. It just wasn't the traditional candy shopper type of hit, or you understand, Mockingbird type of hit. It was storytelling. It was like cleaning out your closet type of personal. So once I heard Forest Hill Drive, that's when I was like, I'm gonna listen. I listened to like, because back then it was those Nokia phones. Ushapa 3 tracks, and you have like 2 pictures left of space and a video for like 30 seconds. So once I heard Forest Hill Drive, the first song I heard was No Role Models, because that was like the popular one. But when I heard Wet Dreams, I listened, and then what the knowledge I took from there, I used it, and then I got that thing I was telling you about, that them cheeks, you feel me? And then once those worked, I was like, okay, if this nigga can teach me how to get into a girl's panties, I want to teach the next person how to treat a woman. I want to teach the next person that like, oh, you don't just have to like grab it on a girl. She also needs to come. So the honesty of it made me like, okay, let me go make my own rhymes, make my own raps. So Eminem and J. Cole, that two gap and all the music that came in between kind of led me to saying and giving me that confidence to say, if someone can be this vulnerable, then I can be vulnerable and I'll learn a punchline while I'm going. Yeah, because even with my music, I don't think I have those Eminem punchlines where it's rapid flow. I kind of like sometimes relax on a beat and give you a hook and give you this and give you that. So I think all the music that I've listened to before writing kind of build how I am now as a writer, when I approach a beat.
Which is it's beautiful because like me I also talked about it like the Forest Tales, how it like kind of transitioned by me from just being a rapper from a corner, you know,
to actually taking it serious and
make music.
Yeah,
my first mixtape, it was inspired by that
Forest Hill Tribe.
It was classic because the way it was written. Even if you watch the concepts, people actually they sing song to song, verse to verse. You know, so I was like, I want to make something like that. I want to make an album whereby people can sing the whole thing, like from intro
and it's not even about
outro. It's
not about, and the fact that they were singing word to word on some inspirational shit. Because when you listen to Love Yours. That technically is a sad song trying to be inspirational. But when people sing it, they don't even look at the sad. They like, this is to motivate me.
Exactly.
You feel me? And
I'm gonna be.
Yeah. So Forest Hill Drive for real, though. I think it changed the landscape for sure. Because after that, I think after that, somewhere around there, Kendrick also came out with Good Kid, Mad City. And that was also different because that was the first time we heard since NWA we heard someone actually say, yo, like like we're getting shot every day. And funny enough, or not funny enough, but the things that they do out there, Crips and Bloods and all of that, that's shit we have here.
Exactly, 26, 28, Big 5, Rough 3,
all of that.
You know, we've
been having that. So having those people that I feel like as Africans or the rest of the world, we always want to be American, or we are influenced by American, or American style, or whatever it is more prominent around the world than even, we're not like, when we hear Casper in Your Vest, or we hear a local artist or whoever it is, or Jinx, because it's me, we are never gonna like fuck with that person until someone from the States says, yo, this nigga is like,
he's the shit.
He's really going crazy.
And you know, touching today, which I want us to go to because it's more interesting. But let's go here for quick now. So you now starting getting exposed to Forest Tales and music, and so eventually you find yourself in Ivory Park a few years later. And then tell us about you being part of the community. How did you like become part of the community? How were you a part of a gang previously, or musical group, you know,
or things like that?
So like and you transcending from all these
things into
groups and then individual and into finding a place where you feel like this is the type of people I want to express my art form, which is OG gang. So you can take us through the process of you like invading, or invading actually it's the wrong word, but you being part of the community and
actually do.
Okay, basically before figure out just you trying now to learn music and the bars and everything. Were your parents much involved in your craft? You trying to express
my craft,
your craft through music? Like, they supportive at first before
I'm gonna keep it 100. Ne? They were not. They are still not. Mara, it's better now. Because for me, I've always been, as much as I'm an introvert, as long as I have someone that I feel comfortable with, I'll always tell them the truth. So my mom was the first person that I told. I was like, yo, I think I was 9, at the time, and I told her like, yo, I think I want to do music. Like, I know you've been telling me I should be a doctor and a lawyer, and all of that is cool, but I want to do this. And as you know, Method said, they normally take things like this as a hobby. So to me, she was like, okay, it could be a hobby, but you're not going to do it full time. So while I'm going into this whole thing, like, the more the itch is there, and I really want to do this, they kind of saw, because there've been different points in my life where, you know, at some point it was like a little getting kicked out of the house, nyana. You feel me? Arguments every night, like, what time you coming back? You're supposed to go to school tomorrow morning, you were in the studio, what's happening? So it's always gonna be that conflict. But I think for me the game changer was once, because I have a little brother and he's the one that actually listens to my music in the household. So when he plays it off my speaker or the home sound system, they get to, as much as they won't listen to the first song, they won't listen to the third song, they won't listen to it on the first day, but eventually they get to get that song where they can understand what they loved about Brenda Fassie, and it's happening in their own household. So because of that, like, what I'm saying is, once you become serious about it and they see it, they're not gonna say go do it because it's not making money yet, but if you're good enough, they're gonna see that, like, maybe you have something here, but still go to school as a backup. Because for me, it went from your music will be the backup to, okay, have a degree and the degree will be a backup. You understand? So it's still a struggle, but for me now it's smooth, dog. If I can still go to the studio and make music and come back home and they're not complaining as much, for me it's like, that's a win.
I think it's kind of dope, kind of like also touching into education, you know, whereby you balance your craft and with your education. Because I also have I had some privileges of like getting exposed to higher education, like going to varsity and stuff like that. And then, so I think it's cool, you know. It's not just only about like hustling hard, you know, like always chasing this record labels, trying to. Plus,
at the same time, not to cut you off, man. But when you say about education, I feel like sometimes people kind of misconstrue the two. Education for hip hop artists, I feel like we never popularized it, just because also as hip hop artists, no one said we can study Montola, Kendrick Lamar the way we study Shakespeare. You feel me? We were never given that respect. So we also kind of looked at school like, you know, middle fingers up and whatnot. But for me, in this generation, I feel like you have to have education.
Which
no
is,
matter whatever you do, you can be a soccer player, you can be whatever.
Shock. I just wanna win for my family and my team. All my life do me become major, not supreme. I still view my life as a dream. Hope to wake up and see a better reality. In this nightmare, nothing's a guarantee. So I fell in love with blowing trees. Poetry became my soul healer. Financially, I'm still broke. For that, the society thinks I'm a joke, but I never lose hope.
Coming back from the 8 break buffet, so yeah, we back Sakulumano Jinx with the importance, you know, of education, as he was breaking it down of not just being an artist, but then also like maintaining, because now we are in an era whereby we are not just looking at it as an art form, because now as young artists we are getting exposed like this art thing is actually like something real.
You can actually make a business out of it.
You make a business out of it. You make yourself a brand. You even buy, purchase brands. You can franchise it like KFC, McDonald's. You know, it's big. It's nice. So you touching into education, like.
For me, in education, what I can say about it is you need it. No matter how you might, I'll be the first to say I don't like going to school, because I think at least at this point you can go on the internet and find whatever you want to find. You feel me? You can.
Famba busy la famba ne. Famba ruini man. Famba ke famba dog.
It's gonna be the funniest one I can go in it. So as I was saying, you're gonna need education no matter what. You understand what I'm saying? And it's, for me, education is always, when you go to these universities or these colleges, one, it's networking. You understand? Because you can go there and all you're thinking is, nah, I don't want to be here, I don't want to be here. But you find out that, oh, actually, I'm also good at marketing. It's not just music, and you're going to need marketing to push your music. You're going to need this and that. So I wouldn't say don't go to school, but you know that once you got into a point where you've acquired what you want and it can benefit your talent, then you're solid. But if you're just going to rely on your talent, then that's also going to lead you in another way. For an artist, if you only want to be a rapper in a studio and doing what, people are going to take your publishing, people are going to take your licensing, they're going to take your masters, they're going to take all of that. So you need some type of education to know what a master is, what a mechanical rights, things like royalties and stuff like that. You might not go to university necessarily to get that, but you're going to need education. So for me, I would say, okay, in terms of education, let's say it's more the knowledge that you acquire. Like if wherever you can get the most knowledge on what you want to do, go straight up for it, because that's going to help your talent at the end of the day. So it is important, as much as people like look some way at it and they don't like it, but you're going to have to thug it out.
Those are wise words.
Yeah.
Those are really wise words. So yeah, we're gonna go straight really to the question of you being part of the community as your moms, like getting exposed. What like my son is doing music.
Yeah.
I might, black parents, they don't wanna like, yes, my son, go for it.
They wanna,
when they're proud, they just keep quiet, and like. They smile inside, or
they keep it in.
They keep it in, which is, it's another topic, what I mean. But
it's a struggle, though. But
exactly, coming to you, an Ivory Park, and you
getting
go
into
through the
Ivory,
gangs, and then finding a perfect place for you to express your art.
So for me, how I look at it is, Bosmont is where I was born, so I don't have a choice on liking it or not liking it. I just happen to like it. El Dorado is where my ancestors are. That's where I'm going to be buried one day. So I have no choice but to fuck with it 100%. And I do. But Ivory Park for me was the first place that embraced me. Because when you move around, at some point you stop even making friends. Because I know I'm going to be at another school next year. So why should I make friends? So Ivory was just another place that I knew that, okay, I'm going to be here. The fun thing was I'm back in Gauteng. Like Limpopo, as much as I fuck with Limpopo, but it's slow out there compared to Gauteng. Gauteng is like the hub, it's like the metropolis and whatnot. But when I got to Ivory, what I fucked with it was, even before I met OG Gang, I met the community, I was in the community, and everyone for the first time was going through the same thing I was going through.
Sure.
You understand me? Everyone was in a backyard. You understand? Compared to Bosmont, where I'm in a backyard and everyone is in a cool place. Or in Limpopo, where, you understand me, I'm still living at my grandmother's house. My mom doesn't have a house for herself. So getting here, how I got into the community, I was still on, I want to make this music thing work. I'm still in high school, but I hate going to school.
Sure.
I'm still trying to get this music thing work. I met up with, another thing, as I was saying, that school is about networking. How I met up with my first ever producer, which is Bad Jimmy. Some of you know him out there. We met at school, at this school called Ivory. There's this other private school called Ivory. Well, it was a new school at the time, didn't have a grade 12 and whatnot. So we met there at Saturday school. He told me that he has a studio. Oh, we need, alright, let's go. Worked on it. I was still kind of like, I think I did my first 4 tracks with him. You understand? He's also an artist. So we were working we're at the same school and we do the same thing and we understand each other. We're both trying to break into this music thing. But he lives in Wheeling, I live in Ivory.
Sure.
So in terms of the Ivory community, I was here, dog. Like I was actually going to these parties that the kids are going to.
Sure.
One toilet, like what is this thing? The Phillies game. I was going to all these things and just trying to be a kid and trying to do all these things. Then OG Gang, for me, when I met OG Gang, they actually brought me to like the underbelly of the community. One toilet, like the hustle, like actually, the first time I hustled for my own money was in Ivory. The first time I got mugged was in Ivory. You understand? The first time I got a girl that like I actually loved was in Ivory, right? And like all these things, like Ivory was my first. It ticked all those boxes, so I automatically loved it. And the cool thing about it is, I don't want to say once I was part of the OG gang, I was loved, but once I was part of the OG gang, it was almost like I was repped even more.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Because now I'm close to familiar faces. Because when I went to OG gang, I didn't even go there as I'm an artist.
Yeah.
I met Msepan, which is like the COO, the big dog and whatnot. He's like the TDE of the shit. And we met over weed, funny enough. We didn't even meet over music. I was smoking weed, go on a skate, and we chop it up a little bit. And then he was always rolling with flows. So I don't know how it came about, but I told him I'm a rapper. And he's like, oh yeah, you're a rapper, Flows is a rapper too. Maybe you guys should battle right now. I'm like, what? Okay, let's go. Because at that point I was like outside of Nalim Lungis, which is Bad Jimmy. There is no other rapper. I hadn't met another rapper. So I'm like, oh, this dude is a rapper. Alright, let me hear his music. And then he plays me Set I Free, which is Jamaican influence. So automatically I'm like, I can't beef with this nigga. He's a Jamaican, he's German, you feel me? I'm already fucking with him. And then he played me more of his music. And then that's when they explained to me what OG Gang is. It's a movement of homies doing music for the ghetto, in the ghetto, inspired by the ghetto. You understand me? It's just all the things that I wanted. And OG Gang literally made me feel like, okay, this is home. You understand? Ivory Park fucks with me. And they really do, because even the first show I ever performed at was OG Gang Nights. And that was the first time I performed. That was the first time even people in Ivory had heard my songs. But when I performed,
the love you got, it was crazy.
It was crazy. I was even hiding, if you remember that night. I was like in the front row, like, nah, I'm not gonna perform today. But once they gave me that thing, like, dog, come on, do it. And people really fucked with me, and it's not like they had to love me because they're part of OG Gang. If music is whack, it's whack. But
they love you.
They loved me for me, and I was doing my own thing that wasn't similar to yours, that wasn't similar to Flows, Frega, or anyone else. So, in terms of how did I get into the community, OG Gang kind of like was that bridge on Jordan to get me into the real community, to get me into the hustling, to seeing like the corners of the hood. Like, it's crazy. All these people talk about I'm chilling with the dope dealers. Dope dealer was my neighbor for the longest time. The biggest killer was just down the street for the longest time. Nyaupes is at the park that we are supposed to be playing at all the time. So all these things for me, they were so real that when I saw people doing it that real and exposing everything in an authentic way, OG Gang just made me feel like home. So that's how I kind of got part of the community.
I hope that they understand that when because I feel like in my music I've expressed a lot of gun shooting.
Yeah.
In my lyrics, I kind of like talk about guns too much.
For me, you go like, pause, but you go raw. Like, you don't even play around.
So I'm not saying that because I want people to think I'm a gangster or I'm glamorizing the lifestyle, but I want to like make you understand what this is actually real. Like, I do hear gunshots. Like, I have friends who get who get mobbed. You know what
understand what I'm saying?
Like, you know, like,
just got
even my nigga on the background, you know, he got mobbed. Like, niggas went in his house and pull up guns.
Nigga, that just happened a few days ago.
So
for the studio.
The stories we telling, I hope they get it.
And actually, that's a very important point. When we say OG Gang, because I know it might not be now, but also in the future when people see us, it's going to be new to them, and they're like, okay, since their music is talking about this, they are automatically gangsters. We are not gangsters. We are not. As much as we call ourselves OG Gang, what OG actually even stands for is original.
Exactly.
You understand? So we are giving you the original story.
Exactly.
What you go and do with it is mostly up to you, because what we do is show you the real, or there are killers this side.
Exactly.
So since there are killers, we're not saying go and shoot that nigga up, but you need to move like this. You understand me? Because even in your song, I think it was off Method R9 mixtape, and I think the mixtape was called IVP, and also the song is IVP, I think. When I listen to IVP, your mixtape, as much as it sounds like you're glorifying the gang violence, and you're actually just saying the true stories, because if someone were to go Ivory specifically, everything you're saying would actually even make more sense to them. Because when you say we have nyaupes more than what, or there's similes, as much as they are poetic and rap punchlines, those are real things that are happening. You understand me? Yeah.
So man, the gun violence thing, it's really real in our community. But then, as OG gang and us telling stories, and you being part of the fam and making music, making your first songs with Jimmy, which I think it was a success, and you shows, and I think you've already broke down almost everything. So now we coming into you, like because now you have a project coming soon.
I do.
But before I go to the project, because the project is coming, there might be people who didn't know about your first project.
Yeah, facts.
So put us on the first project. The idea of
how it even came about.
The writing process, you know. But just tell us the idea, like
what I wanted to do in.
Before you even what did you want to do? What popped your brain to be like, nah, I don't want to make singles no more. I want to make a project.
That's easy. I think you can even tell the connection after I explain it. If you listen to a dude, most of you in South Africa know this nigga, Pretty Ugly. One of his classic projects for me, I don't give a fuck what anyone says. You don't know me yet. When I heard that mixtape, and it was a mixtape which was crazy to me, and I heard that mixtape when I was in Limpopo, when I was still in Limpopo, and I heard it and I was like, this is the first South African artist that made a project, and I was like, I'm gonna bump it more than 3 times. You understand? So when I heard it, it kind of inspired me, so I stopped making singles and actually make a body of work that encompasses love, actual street things, you understand, all those things. So when I made the mixtape, I was still, it took me a long time to make that mixtape. The name of the mixtape is called The Unknown. I think I started it when I was 17, and I dropped it when I was 21 or 20 last year. When I was 20. Last year was 2020.
It was
2020. Yeah, 2020. I was 21 at the time. So I dropped it last year, almost like 4 years in the making, just the writing process, the recordings, because most of the songs I wrote them on the phone. And my phone got mugged, and I had to start from scratch. And then that's when I went back to the pen. So the writing process probably took me from, that's my life, the whole mixtape is my life from 17, 18, 19, 2021, that's when I was recording it. So even the stories that people are going to go back and hear, you're going to hear me talking about my first love.
Which is my favorite song.
For you, girl. And then you're gonna hear me talking about how I even met up with Jimmy, where I talk about my apologies for this tape coming a few years late. We couldn't eat, we couldn't sleep, slaving 3 years straight. You understand me? It was literally my high school, the high school Jinx wrote The Unknown, and then the upcoming project was called Twice as Hard for an OG, which, as you can tell from the title, is that transition from just being Jinx to OG Jinx, right? And now I'm coming into OG gang, and I'm fully expressing myself, because with this upcoming project, as much as I'm telling the whole stories of anyone can relate to, that anyone can say that, yo, this guy's talking about shacks and I live in a shack, I'm also more zoning into who I am, because the Unknown, the mixtape, the first one, I feel like it was just more of an introduction of who I was at that point, 17, 18, 19, you feel me? That's where you want to get the most girls, you understand? It was that type of mind state. But now I'm actually becoming an artist and telling you from even the first track, the intro, which is titled Hello. It's hell with an O, which the O represents a halo. Because as I said, I'm a Gemini and I always have this duality. It talks about the actual South Africa that is not shown on TV. You understand what I'm saying? The first line even says, "Welcome to the south side of Africa where corruption is like free Wi-Fi. This shit's for everyone." Like, literally, like, when you hear that statement, you can already, if you're in South Africa, you know that statement. It's not a new thing to you. When you're in America, you're probably like, they have corruption out there?
Nah,
what is happening?
He says like having corruption because that's what they think we're known for. But like Wi-Fi, you know, because most of the time when they show Africa in a European point of view, it's like we look like some starving kids. You know, while kids are actually throwing up food, you know, with snake cotton, if you don't know that, you know. So it's like
everything.
Exactly.
We have a balance of everything.
We hungry out here, or they are
hungry.
Exactly.
Honestly, but there's also that. I think it was the Soy freestyle. Stoji T. If you go back, if you are a international person outside of South Africa, go and try and listen to that because he's a known artist. But also my mixtape is also kind of like going into that type of content where I'm actually telling you that we have starving kids, but we also have a blue Royal Aston Martin.
Exactly.
You understand? We also have an i8.
Exactly.
You understand?
It's like everywhere else in the world. So why like,
would they think that's only wars?
There's starvation in America. There's actually people who are starving.
There are homeless people.
They're homeless. Exactly. It's like everywhere. You know what I mean?
It's just that the difference is in South Africa is. Imagine all of that poverty or in the world is 10% and then 90% is in Africa. That's the only difference. Because we are actually where they took the slaves. You understand me? We are actually where they come and take the diamonds and take all these things. So automatically we are going to be broke as the black person or as the person that's been oppressed. But don't forget that the people that oppressed us are still here. You understand me? They're still eating. They still have, you know, a big land, and we're still renting in other people's backyards. You understand me? So there is a balance of it, and I think with this EP, you're gonna hear I don't want to say you're gonna hear a fresh thing where I'm saying like, oh, there's racism and you have to be mind blown, but I'm gonna actually explain to you that as much as Americans can, not to compare us too much with them, but as much as Americans can complain that, we are doing, imagine the fact that we are being enslaved where we should be calling home. You understand me? Americans, that's why even in my music there are lines like, if Black Lives Matters, then black men buela high. Or is it every man for himself? Because I'm thinking if someone like Jay-Z owns has a billion in net worth, or gross, and then gangbangers like Crips and Bloods can put their hands on Uzis and AK-47s. For me, that's an Umkhonto Sizwe that has no direction. You feel what I'm saying? They can be used. Why can't they take those guns that the white men gave them to shoot each other and come over here and say, you feel me?
We out here.
We out here
Let's
too.
We here to protect.
I mean, if
the motherland.
The motherland. I mean, if they claiming that we were slaves, they took us. Yeah, but now, motherfucker, you have a Gulf, you have a fucking, cruise ship. Why can't you come back and start whatever? Because the NBA is only hot because black niggas are playing it, and they're the best ones.
Exactly.
So if LeBron, Stephen Curry, whoever takes their thing and come to South Africa and do whatever, not necessarily South Africa like we're greedy, but like, if we are really saying that we want the motherland and we love the motherland, Jay-Z taking $10 and bringing it to South Africa is automatically like 300. Imagine how much land he could buy. He can have that mansion in South Africa or in Namibia or in Zimbabwe and wherever, and people don't understand that all these people that are black prominent people that are already out there, they shouldn't, they're the last people to be talking about African, rapping Africa, because when you're saying Africa, you're coming to Sante. Nakaploma Ivory, Swazi, dog. You understand what I'm saying? So for us, the only difference with me that I will always stand by is I'm not gonna be the person that's gonna say, yeah, like Africa is the best. I'm gonna show you the good, the bad, the evil, the everything, né? And I'm still gonna go out to America or New Zealand or wherever and show them the straight cassiness that we still have. You understand? I'm not going out there to try and be another, rich homie Kwan.
Exactly.
Nah.
Because I think even KRS-One, he spoke extensively on that. Like, we don't need another Drake or
done with that, dog.
Kendrick or whatever, because they are already established. But now as a culture, because now hip hop is not, we turned into a culture. You know, we are not just, we are no more a hobby.
Now we're like a straight up thing.
Exactly.
Dog.
Now we are a culture. It's like we are an established brand. We are a multi-billionaire brand. So you like explaining that, and you like putting your originality in it. It kind of like gives hip hop a blueprint. Maybe some nigga in America might wanna rap like this, like me and you.
Yeah.
Maybe he might wanna put some Zulu lyrics in his songs.
And that's like, for me, it's a good thing, but it's like one step of it.
Exactly.
For me, when I do this music, I'm not trying to make you think that I'm the dopest rap. Like, we've had the dopest rapper since Rakim to whoever's doing it now. You feel me? We've had the biggest flossers. We've had the people that had the biggest jewelry. Slick Rick used to have a thing bigger than his stomach. You feel me? So when I'm doing this music, as much as I'm trying to get people to hear me and obviously feed my family at the end of the day, but what I'm saying in the music is, how about we change the norm?
Exactly.
How about from it being red and blue, how about you guys that have the guns come and fund the right people? You understand me? It's nothing for Crips and Bloods to take all that street money they have, which the American dollar, the value that they have, and come and establish the legit businesses that they claim to want to have. You understand? Because America is only popular because we don't idolize Bill Gates, we idolize Jay-Z.
Exactly.
If Jay-Z moves to Zimbabwe, Zimbabwe is going to be the hottest shit
in Africa. Exactly.
So that's the only thing I'm trying to prove.
Knowledge,
we've flossed, dog. We've done it all. If I come through and floss and still talk about the ghetto, and there's still a ghetto, but I'm a billionaire, then I'm not helping anyone, dog.
So Ndona, how do you then transition what you are experiencing around your wood, what you're experiencing around the world into your music? Now focusing, coming to your latest project, now. So then how do you break it down into your music? Also, how do you then put your personal life with what you're experiencing into one? Okay.
For me, I actually see myself as, in a way, I see myself as the world, as the earth itself. When I'm speaking about this music, I'm speaking on behalf of it. That's why I can be in South Africa, Mara, comment so much about American. So how I blend the two, when I go into my writing process, I'll speak about the intro of the song, because I think that's where, since it is an intro, it has to embody what I'm talking about the most, and it's the one that I feel like is the direct to what you're asking me, which is, there's a line where I say, welcome to the south side of Africa, where corruption's like free Wi-Fi. This shit's for everyone, and everyone's been a passenger. Before Zuma was a pimp, before Ubo the Gupta was a thing, before I discovered that we're the only country with 3 other countries in it, and to one of them I'm a blemish. So that stanza in itself, I'm talking about the world, but from my chair. You understand what I'm saying? Like, yeah, this racism is there, but what has it done to my people? And in turn, what has it done to me? For instance, when I'm a rapper, but talking about something that can be considered political, but I'm not seeing it from a political standpoint. I'm seeing it from a social, like we are the everyday life. Like, okay, there is this racism, but it's deeper than that, dog. Like, do you actually understand the fact that we are living in backyards? That's crazy. You understand me? Sentin is next door to Alex. You understand me? So when I put my music into that perspective, I'm talking to someone that's called Alex, but I'm telling him my story, that as much as you're in a shack, I'm also in a shack. You understand me? And what has that done to us? When I move into Sentin, I'm not worried about the media. I'm not worried about a white person. I'm worried about a black person, dog. Because people sometimes think that, yeah, we're in the hood and we're talking about all these things. People don't understand how dangerous it is. You feel me? Because nakiko kasi. And as much as you're in the burbs and you're afraid of this stigma of their gangsters, that gangster is my neighbor, my G. Like, it's not less dangerous because now I'm a rapper. Nah, if people are getting shot, I also have to duck. You understand? So what he was asking, how I fuse my music and all of these things, it's easy because it's real life. When I talk about crime, the studio, we just got marked. You understand me? People were pointed in the face by people that were there to take their belongings. Those people broke our fucking door down and traumatized the women, kicked them out naked, and all they wanted was a phone and money. Imagine that shit. You understand me? I'm living in Extension 8. It's, for those of you who know Kimzabalas, which means they're mostly shacks and everything, like we are building our own houses. And next door to us, not even 3 minutes away, Mall of Tembisa. The first mall in Tembisa that has an escalator. 3 minutes away from them is fucking, it's the pits, dog. So when I talk about these things, it's easy for me because I can go and experience the good, but I know that I don't belong. But when I'm in here, I'm not gonna tell you that, yo, my neighbor is a hustler, let's go and hustle too, because I know what comes with it. You're gonna get shot, you're gonna get this. So I'm telling you, my neighbor is a hustler, but what I'm using from that is this and this and this. Okay, my neighbor, for an example, someone being a hustler and he's my neighbor, I automatically know that it's dangerous being next to him, but it's also very dangerous for people to come and mug me because they know I'm next door to a very dangerous person. So there's always a yin and a yang. So how I use it in my music, I show both sides from my perspective. When I'm saying that I discovered that we're the only country with 3 other countries in it, and to one of them I'm a blemish, my nappy has a death wish. I'm saying it as me because I know to that 3rd country, I'm not going to be able to go to that country. I'm going to get killed. You understand me? When I say, I wonder if Banaboko Alex get to say Arie Sante, I'm doubtful because every cast is Compton. Crime rates, drugs infestation, not even forgetting that gunplay, which is part of my lyrics of the song. It's, you can tell that I'm telling you all these places and I'm showing you the similarities between them. And those similarities are what I'm going through. You understand me?
Because it's very much interesting. The game also, he said it. He talked about it extensively. He said, I don't care if whether it's in America, Africa, Japan, is back. The ghetto is the ghetto. You know what I mean? And so I think we speak the same language. I think I don't know, because I won't talk for other races. I'm not white. I'm not Mexican. I'm black. So understanding them niggas being Crips and Bloods and coming back and find 26 and 2018. You know, I feel like somehow as African people we don't like we don't really want to get the concept that we are actually connected. We are actually like living the same culture, the only thing that makes the culture different, it's the environment and the geographical place. Because now, talking about music, you can tell by vibrations. The same way in South Africa we play guitar, it's not the same sound in Zimbabwe. You know what I mean? So you can tell that also vibrations they take place. But then all over the world, kids they play iskipi. I don't know what they call it.
They probably call it something weird.
You know, but we call it
Dutch. I think they call it
double Dutch. Exactly. So we also play Scotch. And they also do the same thing. You know, we wear our hats like this. They do the same thing. You know, so I think it's the same language, but then it's being misunderstood. And
I think also it's also because, not to cut you off, I think it's also because who have been the most prominent people to speak about South Africa. You understand me? Not to create any type of drama, but the biggest artist, or the most popular, I want to say this, the most popular artist in this generation has to be Caspen, aka. And if you look at both of those people, they come from different backgrounds. You understand me? One is more privileged and one is less privileged. But if you look at their content, it's the same. They're all talking about flossing. As much as this one can tell you, hey, out of scale, he's not actually, he is to an extent telling you his perspective, but he's not telling the next person, or yo, like we really have, that's why I think his last album was kind of a better reflection of the actual stories for South Africa. So that's the thing, is as much as we're similar, the thing is trying to explain to the next person that I'm not trying to kill you. You understand me? I'm trying to get you on my team. When I'm like, I know that Crips and Bloods are dangerous, but at the same time, what we're fighting for out here and what we're dying for, they're dying over a color. That's fucking stupid. They're fighting over a street that none of them own, but they all have the utilities that we can use to win back what we want to win. You understand? A bigger cause. Because to me, what part of the reason why they can't come back here is because we don't own home. But then how do you expect us to own home? We're the lowest ones when it comes to money value. We're the last ones they think about when the popular thing, the most exposed thing. You understand me? Like what, dog? I read this somewhere. A black 12-year-old child was raped in KFC or McDonald's, and they took a video of that shit. You understand me? I saw that shit on Facebook. It had 66,000 reshares and whatever the case might be. And then the next few slides I go down, Rihanna is named a billionaire, and then that one gets 6 million likes. You understand what I'm saying? It's like people know these things, they just don't fucking care. So once we make them care and we actually come with a solution like, yo, we can see you making $1 billion. If you take that $1 billion, at least half of that shit, and just come more ivory and buy ivory for the people, yo, you are not dead, because Rihanna, you can bounce back the next morning just off that saying, hey, Rihanna came to Ivory and bought all the property. You understand me? For the media, you already, it's like good publicity. But on a real level, like now, we have land. We can own something now. Because as much as we see these flossing people and doing these cool things, at the end of the day, we're still niggas if you're not white. You understand me? Because for you to have a big ass land, you have to be rich and a millionaire. But for a white person, you just have to be white. So for me, it's always about like perspective, solution, and who's saying it.
Yeah, because Babugel, our views, we are not condoning racism, or we are not saying black people should like be racist. You know, because it's true. Black people were never racist. You know, never. If we study history and go back, and then it can be like proven, which is not our talk. How music it gets affiliated with all of these things that take place in our community, from small to the city to
because
the province to the whole
country. If you think about it, even solutions, ideas like this that I'm having, or someone that's a billionaire out there comes back and buys the hood for the people in the hood. Even the fact of buying, if we were actually condoning these gun violence, condoning these things, there would come up ideas like, oh, the Crips and Bloods should just come here and kill the white people. The fact that we're saying we want to buy back our land should show you the peace that we have. We're trying to buy back something that's already ours. You understand me?
It's crazy.
It's crazy. So it's for
really
me when
crazy.
someone says
Crazy.
I'm condoning gang violence, I'm condoning all these things, I'm like, yo, if I wanted to do that, it would be so fucking easy.
Yeah, because now
That's the easy version.
Exactly.
Onthola. Mara, what I'm telling you is gonna make us be at a place of peace. Because us wiping out the white race doesn't fix anything, because we're as bad as them.
exactly.
But when we say we want to buy these things back and we want to do things for us, you understand? When we say we want
are not excluding, but for us,
we want to have our
like,
place.
exactly.
You go to England, you see more white people than black.
So why not home be home as it is?
It has to be home for someone.
Exactly.
Because at this point, I feel like Africa has been kind of like, it's a tourist attraction. It's like, Wantola, like all these places that you see.
More, I think, more Chinese and Japanese and Europeans, British, Portuguese people, they come and invest in Africa.
Like Africa.
I wouldn't mind if LeBron or Michael Jordan or whoever, was the one owning a mining company and drilling that gold out of it. Because I know, like, you know what, he's from here, like it's his, you know what I mean, rather than white people coming
and digging our stuff and then leaving with
then
it.
they leave with it and then they come back, sell the shit
For
with
10
half
times
price,
which
you know what I
money?
mean? So if it was Jordan digging
With
that,
which- now-
I wouldn't be having a problem, because now it benefits back, you know what I mean. It's you, my brother, you are trying to make bread out of this flour that we have, you know what I mean. So I think it's a point where more people outside, more African people should invest in Africa, you know what I mean.
And in a real way, for me, not just sign a check.
Sorry, just to cut you off. Now speaking about these dynamics in terms of politics, in terms of economics
stuff,
and social stuff and stuff. Taking back to music itself, what do you think of beef in the music space?
Okay, this is going to be a little crazy, but in just the music space, at this point, I feel like beef, because for me, beef has always been taken from ciphers. Ciphers is where you go up against this guy for the pure purpose of, I want to see who's better. But then beef over the years, it has done what it did to Tupac and Biggie. It has done, so at this point, we don't need beef. You understand me? At all, not even just in music, we don't need beef in anything, because we have already fought so much. And for me, it's different when I do beef with, not to name names, Mara, little cameraman somewhere, you understand me, who's a rapper, who's from the suburbs. When he's beefing with me, I'm not gonna go to the mic. Why? Because I say, I know this the thing they keep saying gang code is not actually gang code, it's just survival code. I know not to snitch because he's gonna come and kill me, he's my neighbor. You understand me? So with me, beef is never gonna be, I will never respond to someone on some, I'm better than you, unless he wants us to cipher, sit down, bar for bar. The only beef that's gonna happen from someone Osakazi to someone from the burbs, you're just gonna see people missing from both sides, people getting blue eyes.
I have to kick you.
That's the only beef we know,
I have to shoot.
So in terms of beef, I don't think we need beef at all. It's fun for the industry, it pushes people up, people get to know about some people, and honestly, we don't need it, because for me, it's gonna be hard for someone to compare themselves with me. Because the type of person I am, I'm 100 times better than you. Just for the fact that you want to beef with me, I know that I'm better than you. You understand? So I will never respond to a person.
So taking it back to my last question, when we talked about you as a black kid and talking English, because I think I talked about it in my latest mixtape with Vrega, whereby I be like, because it used to be like that.
I remember
you know.
that part.
I come from the similar situation, you know, whereby my mom's raised me in Johannesburg, so the language which I was exposed to, it was English because now our parents they grew up in the 90s.
They were in the villages, so English for them. They wanted
it so bad, so they wanted to install this language to their children. So I came to the hood. I didn't even know my traditional language.
It's painful.
I had to learn it. You know what I mean? So, you being like that, did you see yourself as kind of weird? Did you like maybe attempt did you like feel small and be like, nah, you know what? I actually like should be like contain myself, or did you just embrace yourself? You just embrace yourself. And
all
like,
of that.
You know what? Fuck it, I don't care. I will talk. You know, because I had niggas in school, and we used to talk. I had a friend, and me and him, he never went to a private school. I did, but we talk. Me and him most of the time. We actually talk. We don't kuluma. We don't
it's actually English.
Talk, me and him. So in class, they used to see like us kind of weird. They were like, these niggas, they trying to be American niggas. You know what I mean? So I don't understand, because if you call me a nigga, so
I've went through
exactly taking it back to music and that and the term nigga. Because it's mostly used in music more than anywhere, and the term has survived for like years,
dog.
So
millenniums probably.
Take me to the understanding of in America, they know what a nigga is. They have that definition of a nigga. A white man cannot say nigga because he knows. But in South Africa, it's different. A white man can call you a nigga because the nigga in South Africa is associated to a rapper.
You know,
and another thing else. But most of the time,
it's associated. You do rap, you're a nigga.
You're a nigga. When you come to the hood, and they will you know. So you can take us there, like.
Into like the
understanding and also our people to understand the term, because they need to understand it so that they can respect our art form. I feel like when you call me a nigga instead of like calling me a rapper, that's disrespectful. You know what I mean? Like it's cool to call me a nigga and be like, yo, my nigga Jinx.
Not for me,
you know. But when it comes to my art form is not a nigga. It's rap.
For me, it's always I'm probably the most I'm the most not racist person, if there's even a thing, because for me, because South Africa was like the original racism, back in the day used to be very clear where we stand, white and non-white. So even my mindset, to some degree, I'm trying to get rid of it, but to some degree, that's how my world is as a South African black person. So in something as funny as that, when you say, hey, my nigga, I can take it from you because you're also black, but I will never smile if a white person said nigga. Even if he's trying to say I would still slap him, because for me, I know what it means. You understand? And that's why sometimes someone could say, man, how could you say it in your music? We do, but it doesn't mean you can say it. We already know you say it in your rooms, back rooms, when you're low.
Us as niggas, it's different.
We are saying it as like endowment, like we try to take it from them, like, yo, my nigga. And
you know what I mean?
In the South African content, because we have a name similar to nigga, which is kafir or kafir.
Kafir,
which for me, even the difference between nigga and kafir is that we never popularized it. You understand me? Even when they said it to us, we never accepted it. We never said we're gonna take it. We never wanted it. We didn't understand it. There isn't a translation of kafir or kafir in Spades, Xhosa, Zulus, Swat. You understand? So it was an introduced term to us that we did not like once we understood the meaning. And then in terms of that word itself, that's why even when it's crazy, because even in South Africa we have colors, mixed people which are black and white, and they don't even say that word.
What's crazy,
you understand,
taking it also into the music, is because the colors,
they differentiate themselves from even white and black.
Facts.
You know, it's not like in America where you can find Alicia Keys and she's like, you know what, I'm a nigga. You know, because in America it seems like that when your mom is a nigga, or actually when your mom is black and your father is white, or maybe or vice versa. If your parents are mixed, in America, it's you are a nigga. There's no such thing that you are a white black. They
like,
don't have those terms. You know what I mean? Like us.
So going back to the music, man, I feel like things like that, terms like that, are still gonna need to be explained, because even colours in South Africa, they don't really have their history. You understand? Because even their existence is like a reminder of apartheid. Is an admission, or like white people admit that they came here. Because when you look at a colored existence, it means a white person came from where they came and forced themselves on a black woman. You understand me? So things like that, it's always gonna be a push-pull thing on Mara, if it comes from a pure place. Because for me, when I see a colored, if I see a mixed person, I associate them as black, but their actions will tell me if they lean more on the white side. You understand me? And that's how I'll treat you. Because there are black people that are as cruel and as bad as white people.
They don't even see themselves as black.
You understand? They look down at black people. So for me, it's always about, it depends on where you are, who you are. But the music for me, it's always going to be subjective, because I'm not going to be able to say as a colored, because I'm not a colored. I'm going to give you if a white person, whether you're from Italy, Germany, what, you call me nigga, you're getting slapped as much as you call me kafir. You understand? So that's me. I can never say whose struggle is more, but I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt that black people have had it the worst. So if anyone is to be sensitive, it has to be us first. So if I can go out and say nigga, you know, I'm trying to like remove the pain that already exists. If I can go there and embrace a colored person and say, yo, I love colored people from a genuine place, it's still painful that they exist, but it's not their fault. So I have to also understand that. So something is also about understanding. That's why I feel like as OG Gang, not just as my music or the coming EP, as OG Gang, we've always shown like the authentic stuff. You understand me? We'll show you the bad colors, but we'll also show you the good colors. And we'll show you that, yo, the colors being here taint the fact that, yo, we've been slaved, but yo, we have. So you understand me? It's up to you whether you embrace them or you reject them, and it's up to them if they embrace us or reject us. You understand? Because with South Africa, it's very fucking complicated. I think people really need to go deep into South African history on the like surface level, like actually come to Kazi and understand that, yo, everyone has went through all these things. We've had songs like I Miss You Manelo because we weren't able to say Mandela at that time. So for us, racism and all these things, that's why for me, when I hear people saying they're sensitive about this thing and this thing and that thing, it's like, come on, calm that shit down. You understand what I'm saying? Like, even like, not to go off topic, no matter the LGBTQ, I can't speak about that. I'm not gay or lesbian or transgender or what. But what I can give to people like that want to put themselves under a group, it's not gonna work. If you are gay, walk out the door and show us that you're gay and be cool with it. If this person says, hey, when you're a faggot, you're this and this and that, that's their mindset. Because I sometimes look at it as people that have talents. It's not at the same degree, but when you come out to your parents and say, I want to be a rapper, that's a lot of turmoil going through, you understand? But we still go outside and, you understand, wear it. So I think most of the things, people just need to go off the truth and stop going off, it makes me feel like this. Because some of the times, people that are complaining are not even the people that were offended. When you say a word like faggot in your rap music, people that are not homosexual will be the first ones to complain. But with me, it's always like, when I say something, listen to what I meant behind that thing. If I ever say someone is a faggot or whatever the thing is, there's always context behind it.
Yeah, because now people like they trying to be like, when you call out the faggot, they be like, nah,
he's homophobic. I'm not homophobic, I'm just straight.
Yeah, and because I'm a straight man, and now what's cool is because we live in an era whereby
you can be anything,
you can be anything what you want, you know, and the society forgets that faggots, you know, I'm sorry for the term,
okay, yeah.
But then the society acts like we as straight males,
we made
don't,
that word.
Besides making the word, like we are not sensitive as they are. You know, they think those people go through a lot more than we do, and actually to find the truth is actually straight males who go through
the worst.
Because now we have to be programmed, we have to go to jail, we have to pay bills, we have to pay for child support. You know, we have to work while they don't want to give us work. We have to drive trucks which the seat bends our nuts and our reproduction process.
Shit,
you know, all this 9 triple 10 years.
And you know what's crazy now?
It's very much affecting.
Also about that, straight people, I feel like, especially straight men, are the most, whether you're black, white, Mexican, Japanese, alien, or whatever you are.
Exactly.
Straight men, in my own kind of like observation, we are the people that are mostly mentally and emotionally damaged. Because one, as I told you about, we never embraced being soft or being cuddly, or you understand. It goes to a point where if your girl calls you something like a cute name like Potsonunu or whatever, you'll never let that girl say that in front of your homies. You feel what I'm saying? Like, we've trained to be hard. So for me, the LGBTQ plus community, I embrace you guys. The only thing I don't embrace is the fact that you guys still think you need to be accepted by someone. Just go out there and be you. You understand what I'm saying?
So closing on that topic, we will wrap up. I just got one question. If you have a son or a daughter, I'm not wishing for your son to go through it, because on my answering myself first,
it's gonna be something else.
I don't want, like, answering me the question first of me. I wouldn't want my daughter or son to be gay or lesbian. Not that I hate those people.
It's just that your preference.
As a straight man,
and you're allowed to feel like that. You're allowed to feel like that, because you have your own reasons. You want the legacy to continue. You are used to this. Your ancestors are used to this. I understand that.
So would you want?
For
would
me,
you want your kids?
I've been at a situation where I would say no, off red. Mara, as you said, we're in a different time, and imagine if this is what, because the LGBTQ community, what they're doing is just they're making the foundation for the next people. So as much as, like you saying, you might not want that, your child might come out of the womb like that. Like, you can actually see and tell that, yo, this. Even if he hides it from you, if you know the truth, it's almost, you are trapped as much as he's trapped. So for me, my kid, honestly, they're gonna be it's either they're gonna be the most genius kids or they're gonna be the most damaged kids. Because for me, because I've always been a person that have seen so different type of oppression, different type of struggles, I would never wish something like that on someone else. Because I know that if you having sex with this other man does not affect me and my butthole, why should I be concerned? You are my son, I will love you regardless, but I'm not gonna start, you feel me, wearing dresses with you and show you that I support. You wanna wear dresses? Okay, you can wear dresses. Because how about if I say, no, I don't want a son like that, I don't want a daughter like that, and then they kill themselves? Am I gonna cry? Or am I going to bury them, or am I going to acknowledge them then when they're dead? So for me, as much as I wouldn't say I want my kids to be LGBTQ, whatever, and I love that group and those people and people that embrace their true selves, but if I were to choose, I wouldn't want, especially my son, to be gay. Because again, Legas, you know, they're killing black people every day. I need more black niggas. You understand me? So if, for me, the simple thing is, if my son were to be gay, I'd just make another son. Just to, like, make other kids, because we know niggas with making clear.
So, wrapping up, what can people, what can we expect in the more near further from Jinx, and what also routes are you like wanna take into the game? Because as you are growing as an artist,
I'm going through everything.
you still gonna go through some processes, but going in our imaginations as dreamers, as people who
philosophers and people that trade the way.
Who do you see? How do you see Jinx in the next 5 years?
In the next 5 years, dog. Okay, let's go off like short-term goals. I want to get this EP out the 7th of September 2021. That's when I'm dropping it. And you're gonna see visuals, you're gonna see more marketing. Like, we just got into registering businesses, you understand me, and actually making ourselves legit. So you're gonna see even a more legit type of way, in terms of you're gonna see me more, but with my own type of Jinx way. You understand, the marketing is always gonna be different, the music is gonna sound different, the visuals are gonna sound different. But in terms of how I see myself going into the game in 5 years, like in 5 years, I'm definitely in the game, like actually making money off my music, independent. Like, I'm gonna be independent till I die. I have a fucking death row deal with Love Art Entertainment and OG Gang Entertainment. Like, it's death row, like, you know, so it's gonna be independent no matter what. I'm gonna be at the top of the game, and I'm gonna be the best version of myself right now, dog. Like, I'm just gonna continue making authentic music, whether or not it might reach these people at this time, but it's gonna be this, just 10 times better, and most probably somewhere in fucking private location. You feel?
Unless Antonio, you had something to say, or
I'm good.
Now we've been chatting.
My beautiful people, from ladies to gentlemen.
Just before you can wrap up, just mention where people can find you.
Okay. Hopefully my nigga is gonna edit my shit right here. You see this? There's gonna be Mr. Love Art on Instagram, and then it's Angels Fall for Demons on YouTube. The links are gonna be on the bio, but right here you can find my stuff on Audiomack, and the major link that gets you to all my social media is gonna be right here. OG Jinx, that's the name. Repping OG Gang. Man, it's been a fucking pleasure being with these people out here.
It's been a pleasure having you in our
been
number one
crazy.
show. Hey, my friend, to my beautiful people, from ladies to gentlemen, abancane, abadala, you know, abakugile, abasazuguga, you know, all of that, the whole 9 yards. It's me, your boy Meth. I'm Hambano Obee in the background. It's been a pleasure, my friend. Are you enjoying our platform?
And it's season 2.
So
please,
season 2, you're on fire. Hey,
come on,
tell
share,
them, tell them.
subscribe. Link to bio, you feel me? Like, yo,
don't forget,
likes,
share,
comments, all of that.
Follow us more on our Instagram. You can catch us everywhere. Follow us on our page. It's Obee Pictures, and also you can catch some podcast. You know, on our Audiomack station, which is Obee the Lyricist. I'm a podcaster by. That's where they take place. And also, hey, Obee is going back. There's I don't know what to call it, but it's a spoken word project. It's an EP. You can get it and search. It's Obee the Lyricist.
I've heard it.
He's doing some wonderful lyrical content. So if you are a fan of stories, because I think he's mixing sort of like radio, drama, and storytelling. You know, lama story be wa shaima radio in whereby you had to you have a chance to hear what's a scambali, you know, all the stories be wa radio whereby you only get to like listen to them and paint your own picture and show up. So it's something like that, but it's more advanced because now it's music, you know. So there was never a form of making music. Each and every, even for you beat whether you're kuluma,
there's nothing new under the sun.
There's nothing new. So yeah, catch that and listen to it, and then I bet you for star. So it's Obee the Lyricist, and then in the album EP, that's the That's the project. So need to another, and then just feel good. More about just stream it, and then you can also stream with Jinx on his platforms. Audiomack. He just dropped the new track, No Frega, which is Pounding on My Head.
Going crazy,
doing numbers right now. And also shout outs to everybody.
Shout out to the gang, man. Before we leave, man, I have to say shout outs. Shout out to OG gang, from Frega to Mtsepani. That nigga's behind the scenes, but that's the nigga that brought us all together. H2O flows. You feel me? Who else am I missing? Ilmo, Rafa is with me. You feel me? Like, yeah, shout out to everyone. Everyone is making great music. You guys just go out there. If anything, just hit the post notification button so you can get more of these, because this is just season 2. And this was me, man, with my homie out here, the OG. Nah, we nice.
Shout out to you, Wafetu. You are the most biggest supporters. Shout out to Ivory Park. So,
Let's go! Your face subscribe, yeah.